Today I signed up with Mercury Bank. It's not a bank, it's a fintech, but it does have FDIC pass-through insurance. Now you have to sign up with this one via a referral link, and I found someone else's referral link. When you deposit $10,000 within the first 90 days, you get $250 cash. And apparently the payout's pretty quick. Now I just put in the first 100. I haven't done the 10,000 yet, but I'm going to show you the interface. Now, in order to get a Mercury account, you have to have a business in one of these locations. So you've got the United States, Virgin Islands, Cayman Islands, etc. Also, as far as the documents, you'll need the company's formation documents. You'll need this is the one that slowed me down, the IRS issued EIN document. Now, I believe this is the first business checking account I've actually had to supply the EIN document. Normally, they just ask for the EIN number. The problem with this EIN number is I think I had mine generated like 20 years ago, and there's no reprint option on the website. I think there's an option where they'll mail you a new one. So it was actually faster for me just to generate a brand new employer identification number. Here's a link here that shows here what the EIN. So it's basically a letter from the IRS when you first sign up, and it only took about 5 minutes to do, and they do it online. And then you should basically save it and save multiple copies just in case you get another company like Mercury that really wants to see this document for whatever reason. And they do verify your ID. You have to take a picture of your face. And another thing worth mentioning is there's no option for sole proprietorship. So even if you have a sole proprietorship, the only way from the pull down menu, they have LLC, but they don't have sole proprietorship. So you'll have to select LLC or another option if you've got a sole proprietorship. Now, the thing about Mercury is it's very advanced. You can send and receive payments from others. You can set limits on what people can spend. You get a company credit card that you can sign up with 1.5% cash back that you can also offer to your employees. And you can set limits on that as far as how much they can spend, where they can purchase, and actually you can actually blacklist certain things to keep people from buying at certain places. You get up to $5 million of pass-through FDIC insurance. The bill pay is actually fairly advanced too. There's actually an email that you get where employees can email their receipts or invoices to you, and the software automatically populates the fields. Here's some of the limits here. So you can set a daily limit for a particular person or for all employees. There's also accounting integration. There's Xero. There's QuickBooks, there's a bunch of them. You also have a high yield savings account. Now, Mercury does have a very high yield, 4.43% yield on your idle cash. However, in order to get this rate, you have to have at least $500,000 in there. So it's not for people to have less than that. So if you have less than $500,000, this rate goes down to like zero. Okay, now I signed up with the free account, and it still has a lot of features. There's unlimited invoice generation, bill payments, reimbursements up to 5 users a month, and you can link with QuickBooks or Xero. Now, if you want something like recurring invoices or branded invoices, then you have to subscribe to the one that's $35 a month or $350 a month. Here's another perk you get with Mercury: free domestic and international wire transfers. You also have a corporate credit card option, virtual and physical debit cards. Here's kind of a bigger one that doesn't have ACH debit payments. That's not an option. So in order to send an ACH debit payment, you have to do Mercury Plus. And you're limited to 5 active users. So if you have more than 5 employees, then you have to do Mercury Plus. Here you can see the custom invoice options they have. You can also add team members, and then you can send requests for payment from them or a payment link. Now, I did find out that the Mercury credit card, they call it the IO credit card account. It requires an average of at least $25,000 in deposited in all of the Mercury accounts in order for you to get it. So if you don't have at least $25,000, you can't sign up for it. Here you can see the Mercury interface. You can do approval for invoices. So on some of these, somebody can submit an invoice. You get this email address, like I have one here. Someone can actually send an invoice, and then it'll automatically populate, and then those invoices can be approved by you or whoever you set. Here's the invoice option for creating invoices, adding customers, reimbursements. Here's the accounting options for integrations. You have a bunch of different options for integration. And it's not just that. There's also, if you click team management, there's payroll or HR. There's the Stripe payment, Slack. Here you can set controls for limits. Here's the rules that you can create. This is sort of like Relay has rules too. So here you can set specific limits, such as if the amount is greater than 0 but less than 100, require any admin, put multiple people if it's above a certain amount, I think. Daily maximums. You can set a daily maximum spend limit. You can set a limit on bill pay permissions. 2 admins must approve requests to send payments. You turn that on. Here you can set policies for the card spend policy. Receipt required if transaction amount exceeds a certain amount. Here's a notes requirement. Notes required if transaction exceeds a certain amount. And this is one that I like. You can actually block certain merchants. You can allow certain merchants like Amazon, Facebook, Google, and then you could block everything else. Or you can allow certain categories, but not other categories. So for example, if you didn't include alcohol in bars, then if someone goes to an alcohol or bar, they're going to have to pay they're not going to be able to pay using that card. And then we also have perks. We've got up to $5,000 Amazon Web Services credits. You've got Google Cloud discounts, a bunch of different discounts. Now, just creating a virtual or a physical card, like a debit card, is free. It's only the credit card one that requires the $25,000. Now, one thing I don't like about Mercury, and Relay, Business Checking, and QuickBooks also have the same problem, is the checking and savings are not unified. Why can't this be just one account? So the problem is, it's not so much an issue with this one because you're not getting, unless you have $500,000 in there, you're not going to get the 4.5% or whatever. You're not going to get much. But let's say you had 500,000, then you're going to have to keep moving it to the savings because the checking, it doesn't pay that much. And so that's a lot of work. So I wish they would unify that. That's my one suggestion. Okay, here's the bill pay. If we hit upload bill, you could actually forward the bills to this email address that you get. They'll accept pretty much any format, JPEGs, PNG, PDF, and it'll automatically populate, and then you can do the bill pay. So anyways, I hope you liked this video. If you want to try out Mercury Business Checking, I'll put a link down below where you can sign up and get $250. Have a good one.